Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video, and XRP is set to skyrocket. It is set to take off. Now we have a month left of 2025, and I'm seeing so many people, whether it's on X or in the comment sections, saying, well, there's only, a month left of 2025. I mean, there's no way XRP could skyrocket then. And the main thing I would point out to kind of counter that narrative would be look at November 2024. In the space of a month, actually less than a month, XRP went from 50 cents to over $2, $2.50, $2.60, $2.70. And that was the first leg up of the little bull run we had. So to say that XRP can't move in a month is completely verifiably untrue. But unfortunately, these are the narratives that are being pushed out there, and these are the narratives that people are believing. And so they think to themselves, well, look, 2025 is going to be nothing. I'm going to sideline myself. I'll see what happens in 2026. And unfortunately, people don't seem to understand that, we've seen the negative volatility, right? We've seen the market crash. We've seen the market dip. We've seen it trade sideways. So a lot of people are used to that kind of volatility, but they're not used to the positive volatility, the massive spikes upwards. And that can come in the form of XRP going from 50 cents to over $2.50. It could be XRP going from $2 to $5 to $10 to $20. Now also cast your mind back to 2023 heading into 2024. We had the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs, and they took about a month or two, maybe just under 2 months, for the money to flow in and stay in. But once that happened, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high 12 months earlier, and we saw massive price action. So if you combine the XRP ETFs with replicating how the market performed in 2017 heading into 2018, December is typically when the markets turn around in these time periods. So we've got these two catalysts. We've got the potentiality of the market turning around. We've got the XRP ETFs. We could quite easily see XRP hit $10 to $20 by the end of the year, potentially maybe even going slightly higher heading into 2026. That is a very real possibility. Now, I'm not saying it's absolutely going to happen, but we have to take the information that we have at hand. We have to look at the past and say, okay, well, this is what the markets have done in the last two bull runs. And we're seeing the markets play out quite similarly to what we saw in 2017 heading into 2018. Now, we also have to look at past ETFs. We had the Bitcoin ETFs that performed exceptionally well. We had some of the Ethereum ETFs that didn't do as well, but I would say there's probably more of a demand for XRP than there would be for Ethereum. That's just me, though. And so we have to look at that past data, and we have to make calculated decisions based on what the market has done before. Now, does that mean the market's going to perform exactly, specifically like it's done in the past? More than likely not. But it gives us a good foundation to prepare for, because we're not going in blind. It's not like 2017 heading into 2018 when we hadn't seen an alt season before. And so when the market started moving rapidly, people weren't entirely sure what it meant. Was the market going to continue to do this? Was it going to crash at any second? There was no historic data for people to actually make informed decisions. For those of us who were there back then, a lot of it was just taking it day by day, seeing what happens, seeing, maybe taking profits, maybe not. It was really quite difficult to make determinations because there was no, as I said, historic data to work with. But here we are now in 2025, heading into 2026. We have 2 alt seasons worth of data. We have a gigantic amount of historic data to work with. And so when people say things like, oh, XRP won't move in a month, or there's no way XRP could take off in 2026, well, that's just not true. And that's why it's really important to make decisions right now, because at any point, the market could absolutely turn around, start skyrocketing, and now you're paying a lot more for XRP than you could right now. And that's the only downside, really, is that you know, for people who sideline themselves or who haven't spent this time accumulating, they're just going to have to pay a lot more for XRP. It's going to become way more expensive. And we've seen this happen time and time again. Back in 2017, you could buy XRP for less than 1 cent a coin, 0.006. By early 2018, at the height of the first alt season, XRP was trading above $3. And then when the first bear market came along, it would dip back down to 10 cents. Now, 10 cents is cheap. It's still not as cheap as 0.006, but now you're paying a lot more for the exact same asset you could have got cheaper a year ago. And then we head into 2020, 2021. XRP rallies from 10 cents to 19 cents to $1, $1.65, $1.80. Now you're paying a lot more. And then when the bear market comes around, it dips back down to 30 cents. 30 cents is cheap, but it's not 10 cents. It's not 0.006. Exact same things happened since November of 2024. You could buy it for 50 cents, 60 cents, right up until November, and then suddenly it's $2, $2.50, $2.60, $2.70, $3 heading into 2025. You could buy it now for around $2 a coin, but you're not buying it for 30 cents. You're not buying it for 10 cents or 0.006 cents. And that's the exact same thing that will keep happening time and time again. And we're not even talking about utility runs here. We're talking about retail investment. We're talking about the 4-year cycle of the Bitcoin halving events, the post-halving bull runs, the alt seasons, and the bear markets. And as the years go on, to accumulate 1 XRP becomes more expensive every single time. It's just that these prices that we've seen are way more palatable. So when you look at 1 cent XRP and 10 cent XRP and 30 cent XRP, that's so much more easy to digest than $100, $1,000, $10,000, maybe even higher. And those prices sound crazy, but look at what we've seen happen in the past. To go from less than 1 cent to over $3, that's a remarkable jump in price. To see the equivalency of that right now would be $2 to $300, $2 to $700, $2 to $1,000. Now, when you mention $1,000 per XRP, people lose their minds. They go, there's no way that could happen. And they always cite market cap. Well, we've seen a similar price jump happen in 2017 to 2018, completely within the confines of what people would say, oh, market cap. And that's why XRP flipped both Ethereum and Bitcoin back in 2018. It's happened before. And that's what's remarkable to me, ladies and gents, is that people sit here in 2025 and go, well, there's no way XRP could flip Bitcoin or Ethereum. There's no way XRP could do that. And has already done it. It's happened time and time again. It's flipped it in 2018, but we've seen the price of XRP exceed expectations time and time again. And that is without any bank or any financial institution utilizing blockchain technology. Now, once that happens, that's an entirely different game, entirely different. That is XRP decoupling from the typical retail investing 4-year cycle and existing in a class of its own. And when that happens, it's game over for cheap XRP. Because essentially you're going to have every bank, every financial institution around the world utilizing blockchain technology. And when that happens, they're going to turn to the crypto that they have trialed successfully. And that crypto is XRP. And when that happens, you've got millions and billions and trillions of dollars flowing directly into and through XRP. And that money doesn't stop. It's continuous. So that means when XRP skyrockets up because of that price action and that money coming in, it goes up to $100, $1,000, maybe more, but then it stays up there because the money is going to flow constantly, continuously. And so now the entry point, the cheap XRP, becomes a lot more expensive. And then everybody says, well, I'm not going to pay $1,000 for XRP. Happened with Bitcoin. Happened with Ethereum. People weren't buying Ethereum at $10. People weren't buying Bitcoin at $100 because it was still considered a volatile / scammy asset. Those cryptos became legitimized when they were 10,000, 20,000. In Bitcoin's case, 100,000. Ethereum, a couple of $1,000s. And that's when people went, oh, I want some. Oh, it could be great to have one of them one day. It's exactly what's going to happen with XRP. People look at XRP right now at $2 and they go, ugh, not worth it. It's not going to go anywhere. When XRP is worth $1,000 a coin, that's when people will be FOMOing like crazy. They'll be desperate to own one XRP. And then it's the people like myself and each and every one of you listening, the ones who took the calculated risk now before it became popular, before mass adoption. We will be rewarded for our patience and our perseverance and the calculated risk that we took accumulating such a unique digital asset. Now, ladies and gents, as always, none of this is financial advice. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. There you'll have access to all my portfolios, all the cryptos I hold, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.